My next guest is a therapist, author, and YouTuber specializing in helping survivors of narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. Please welcome Shannon Petrovich. Welcome to the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Patricia Bourgeois, certified business coach. I am here to help you up-level, generate consistent wealth, increase your confidence, attract dream clients, and master your mindset so that you can fully own your power and achieve next level results in your online business and beyond. Every week, a powerful conversation will take place with amazing guests, or I'll share from my experience to help inspire you to start and scale the business of your dreams while being powerfully you. The time has come to stop playing small, stop hiding, and stop waiting. Now is the perfect time for you to passionately pursue your heart's desire as the powerful leader you were born to be. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I am here today with Shannon. Hey, girl.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. So feel free to take us on and share with us who you are, what you do, and what got you into what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm a therapist and have been for 35 years. Then, about 4 years ago, I decided that sharing with one person at a time, 1 hour at a time, seemed kind of minimal. And I wanted to share with a wider audience because it seemed like there are millions of people in the world who really need mental health information, strategies, help. And I just felt like I wanted to share with a wider audience. So I created a YouTube channel called Therapist Talks. And in the process of doing that, and over the past 4 years, the most questions I've been fielding and the most focus that I've had has been on narcissistic and abusive and toxic relationships. And so it has become sort of more or less my focus in a lot of my videos. So then about 6 months ago, I decided that I couldn't really do that topic and healing from and dealing with that topic or toxic relationships in 10-minute videos. So I decided to write a book. So I've written a book called Out of the Fog into the Clear, Journaling to Help You Heal from Toxic Relationships. And I published that in May.
Wow. Yeah, this is so inspiring. And I think talking about these issues is so important to raise awareness, that's for sure. And I don't remember what the percentage is, but I read somewhere, I think it was 72% of entrepreneurs have mental health issues. And, this podcast is all about female entrepreneurship, and there's a lot of coaches and consultants and women in business that listens to this. So if you could share one piece of advice with regarding mental health, what would it be?
One of the things that I've really discovered in my work is that most of us have a toxic relationship within our own selves, that internal harsh critic that chatters at us all day long in really harsh, really awful ways is our worst enemy and our enemy number one. So that if we are having toxic relationships in our lives and having difficulty setting boundaries, it's often because we already have that toxic relationship with ourselves. And the first piece is really to look at that and listen to that. I know when I first was asked to look at that, back in my 20s, I thought, well, that's a silly idea. And then I started to listen and notice and was astounded at the way I talked to myself. I would never talk to anyone else in my life that way, but I was so harsh and so condemning within my own mind. Whenever I was sad or frustrated or made a mistake or anything, it was just this harsh voice inside my head that was just ripping me to shreds. And we just can't survive that. We have to address that and change that. And so the first part of my book is really to assess that and then help people figure out where that came from and address it and really look at a much more healthy and true sense of self that's based on our character qualities and our values and how close we're living our values. And when
Mm-hmm.
you have those pieces of information, then you can superimpose those over the negative, harsh critic comments.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so true. And I feel like for me, like I used to really like link my self-worth to like my achievements and my
Mm,
successes. So
mm.
the inner critic really came out in these moments where I felt not good enough. So I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this. That's for
I
sure.
think so too, and it sometimes is a driving force that we're afraid to let go of even, because I
Mm.
know very successful women are oftentimes really hard on themselves, and that's
Mhm.
what kind of forces them to succeed. But the thing is that we have to step back from that and say to
Mhm.
ourselves, what helps other people succeed is oftentimes that strong encouraging voice, and that's what we have to be for ourselves
Mm.
instead. And the other
Yes.
piece is that when we are really harsh and mean to ourselves, then somebody harsh and mean can come into our lives and we don't immediately toss them aside. We sort
Mm.
of hear that as a resonance, which is um, very detrimental to us. And we can oftentimes accept their harsh criticisms because we're so used to doing it to ourselves already.
Yes. And I feel like we're like also lying to ourselves sometimes. Like when we say we're not good enough or smart enough, it's like, no, it's not true.
I know. I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, for you, like growing up, did you imagine that you take this career, that you do what you do today?
No, I didn't. I thought I would be a doctor or a veterinarian. And then in college, I realized that what really resonated for me was learning about people's emotions and relationships. And that's what really intrigued
Mm.
me most. And I started to look at that more deeply, and then went to graduate school and really fell in love with the learning and the therapy and understanding how to help people, and that became my lifelong passion. But no, I didn't imagine that when I was younger.
Yeah, most of us don't. And I'm so glad that you did take that route because it's
Thank you.
amazing what you do. And so, talk to us about your book, Out of the Fog into the Clear. Like, yeah, I want to know more about it.
Yeah, so a big part of it, I'm a sailor, and so I really resonate with the idea of falling into a fog
Mhm.
when you're in the fear, obligation, and guilt of a toxic relationship. And this can be with any type of toxic relationships, and people sometimes feel confused about that. But basically, if somebody is all about themselves and they're all about getting what they want and they need and they think and they feel, and don't care about you as a person and what you have to offer, then they are basically highly self-centered and non-empathic
Mm.
and not compassionate, and they are not healthy for you to be around because you can't fully exist in that relationship. So if you have a sense of not being fully yourself in a relationship, then that's basically a toxic relationship for you. So it's kind of poisonous, and it's like drinking poison all day, every day, to be in a relationship where you can't fully exist. So when
Mhm.
we get lost in that fog, which usually happens over time, there is a sense of being sort of buried in that lostness and being unable to see clearly to get out. So when you're a sailor and you're looking at the fog, you look down at your radar screen and that gives you the facts. The coastline is here, there's a big rock there, there's a big ship heading towards you, and it's just green lines on a screen. It's really hard to trust that. And in our lives, we have to look at the facts of the relationship. So looking
Mm.
at the fact that, you feel worse about yourself today than you did 6 months ago. You are not feeling physically healthy, mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, and that this is getting worse and worse, that they've separated you from your
Mm.
people, they gaslight you, they do harsh, mean, awful things, and they're not supportive of you when you need help. So there's just a sense of There's a sense of disappearing over time, and that is unhealthy. But when you line up the facts and use those as your radar, then that helps you gain clarity in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at that as like the green lines on the radar screen, then you will feel a sense of trust in that, and then you can move forward into the clear.
I love that. So it's a lot of letting go as well, I can imagine.
It is. It's a part of, it's recognizing that there are different parts of your brain, and there's the rational side and then there's the emotional side. The rational side can look at those facts, can steer a straight course out of the fog, whereas the emotional brain is trauma bonded. It thinks you're in love with this person. And if you listen to that, then you are likely to keep in that relationship forever. So you've got to
Mm.
look at the facts. You've got to use your rational mind to steer your way clear of this and sort of nurture and be self compassionate towards your emotional mind, but recognize that you can't listen to that and you can't steer your ship based on that.
So true. Oh, this is so good. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So I ask this to everyone who comes on the show, and I'm curious to know your answer. For you, what does it mean to be a powerful leader?
I think the most important thing is to learn who you are, to understand who your authentic self is,
Mm-hmm.
and then to be your authentic self. I think that's the most powerful thing that we can do. What I mean by that is that in our culture, we are taught that we are our accomplishments, like you said, or our jobs,
Mm-hmm.
or our bank accounts, or our hair and nails, God forbid. All that really superficial stuff that
Mm-hmm.
we define ourselves with. And I think that's really tragic when we, as powerful women, unique and amazing and brilliant in each in our own ways, get
Mm.
lost in those superficial things. So when we find our authentic self, our character qualities, our values, and those sorts of things, then we are those things, I think we lead from that passionate authentic place. And so being a powerful
Mm-hmm.
leader means being your true self and leading from that honest place.
Yes. And I feel like it's such a challenge for a lot of people to really like be like, yes, this is who I am. I'm going to show
Hmm.
up in my power. So like
Hmm.
where do you begin to like find that courage, that bravery?
It is. It's an internal journey, and I think we
Mhm.
have to flush out all the other voices. Um, and some people grew up with those harsh critic voices,
Mhm.
and other people created them from their environment and driving themselves hard with that internal voice. So we have to flush that out. We have to find out who we are in our own strength and power, what
Mhm.
we, were born and created to be and express and share with the world, and then live it out loud. And I
Yes.
think that's the most important part.
Yes, for sure. Find joy in the everyday and live
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And the last part of my book is really all about self-care and self-love and
Mhm.
self-calming and self-compassion, because again,
Mm.
we're so hard on ourselves. And when we can learn to live from that place, then if we run into a toxic person, we're going to have a great creepometer that's just going to go
Mhm.
off like a rocket, and we're not going to get sucked into another negative relationship in our lives.
Yeah. Oh, this is so good. I mean, everyone who has these types of relationship, go read Shannon's book. You need it.
Thank you, Anna.
Awesome. So, do you have, any last piece of wisdom, something you truly wanted to share today?
Oh, just to, live out loud and find who
Mhm.
you are and what you were meant to express to the world. You are uniquely the only person who can express that. And,
Mhm.
a lot of people think that unless I change the world, I'm not really mattering. But we matter to our own part of the world. And when we matter in healthy, authentic ways, then that is amazing.
Yes. Oh, So good.
Thanks.
Awesome. So where can people go to connect with you further, follow you, learn more about your services?
Yeah, so nofoggydays.com or therapisttalks.com will get you to my website where I have some blogs and all of my videos from YouTube and also my book link. The link is on Amazon and Kindle as well. And Therapist Talks on YouTube. There are about 150 videos, and I live stream question and answer times every other Sunday afternoon. So that's a casual time when people can show up and ask questions, and I will answer them to the best of my ability.
Awesome. Yes. Go follow Shannon. Go watch her videos. She's awesome. Thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Powerful Female Leaders podcast. If you love this episode, make sure to spread the message, leave a review, and subscribe. I would forever be grateful for you. I also want to hear from you, and I want to know your feedback and your questions for future episodes. So don't be shy, say hi, and send me a message at Powerful Female Leaders Podcast on Instagram. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode.